Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. How are we all doing? That's okay. That's good. Um, Welcome back to another Talk Story Tuesday. My name is Gabby, and I'm one of the prenatal coordinators at the Pacific Islander Health Board of Washington. Um, and I'm joined today with two very special, wonderful, and amazing guests today. We have Jodilyn Owen and Carmen Alik. So please give them a round of applause, give them hearts and likes for being on today's talk story. And so for today's topic, we're going to be diving into um, issues that can arise during your pregnancy and what are some foods or nutritious things that you can do to combat that. But before we begin, I'm going to go ahead and start off with introductions with our lovely guest today. Um, Jody Lynn,
Yeah, hi.
tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Jodilyn. I work at Rainier Valley Birth and Health Center in South Seattle and also in Renton. And my job there is primarily as a midwife. I do a lot of administrative work too, which is, paperwork. But the fun part is working with families who are planning a pregnancy, who are currently pregnant, or who are having a baby, or who just had a baby. And that's my zone that I live in the most. So I get to meet a lot of families. So wonderful. There's sorry.
That's okay. We have also another guest in the background. But thank you so much for being here today, and we're so excited to share your knowledge and your experience with midwife and pregnancy care. And then today we're also joined with another guest. Her name is Carmen Alik. So Carmen, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what you do.
Thank you, Gabby. First of all, my disclosure. I'm not a nutritionist. Everybody knows about that, but that just sound a nice sound to it anyway. Yeah, I just want what I'm going to share is my experience, my personal experience, and what I do is I'm a full-time grandma and also a full-time PRI from my home, and so yeah, that's what I do. I'm just interested in food, and I've been talking to anyone who wants to listen to me about food. That's about it.
No,
Thank you.
with your experience, we've heard a lot, and with both of you, we want to highlight your experiences and how we can apply it to our pregnant moms that are going through these issues today. Um, and so, again, for anyone that's joining today's live, please feel free to ask your questions in the chat, or if you want and you feel comfortable, share your experiences about what you've gone through because you may not be in this alone, and somebody may be also going through this too. So, for today's topic of discussion, like I said, we're going to be diving into health issues that may arise during pregnancy, maybe what ways we can prevent, and how food can also play a big part in these things that we have going on. And so, my first question is going to be for Dr. Jodilyn and Carmen. If you have, and also anybody joining, please feel free to share. Um, in your both of your experiences, what are the most prevalent health issues that you see during pregnancy?
Do you want to start, Carmen, or do you want me to start?
You can start now.
Okay. Everything loops back to the whole world that you are talking about, Carmen, of food awareness. So all of these issues that come up, we have food is medicine in our bodies, and we can work so much with food in order to prevent and even treat these issues. But I would say that the most common things we're seeing come up, and particularly with our lovely families from the PI community, are anemia, number one, and then the issues that kind of chase that are diabetes and preeclampsia, which come together. Those are usually a package deal. And finally, mental health. I would say, sometimes we're surprised in pregnancy that anxiety, especially anxiety, but also depression, can come creeping up during pregnancy and surprise us. But talking about knowing and preparing for these things is so important. And certainly, how do we support ourselves to have good energy is fuel. And we think of fueling our bodies the way that we fuel our cars. It's not, it doesn't, it doesn't have to be approached from an emotional lens. There's a way to like reduce the anxiety around food by thinking about how we want to fuel ourselves so we're not on the empty all the time. And we want to keep our tank kind of full, and then we want to fill it with fuel that supports our engine to do the work that we want to do, to live the lives that we want to live, and to achieve our goals for our lives every single day. We need enough energy to get through the day, and then we need enough good fuel to support our bodies, the pregnancy, the demands of pregnancy, and the demands of the baby and the needs of the baby. And the baby needs blood volume, but also needs brain development. So we want to like explore what do all those things mean and how does anemia play into that. Anemia is when you don't have either enough red blood cells or you don't have enough iron storage in your body, which is the most common kind of anemia we see in pregnancy. And there's lots of kinds of anemias, but that's the most common one. And your body, your pregnancy, and your baby need iron in order to be healthy. The demands of iron during pregnancy are very, very high every day. So we can maybe like turn to Carmen and talk about iron rich foods. And I would always start with food that's going to absorb the best and help us grow our own iron storage the best. And then we can talk about supplements too. But maybe we could like just focus on anemia for a minute and then we'll kind of carry out the other things and talk with Carmen about if that's okay, about iron rich foods and foods that absorb well in the body that makes sense for our own heritage and the foods that we have in our families and the foods that we have in our customers.
Yeah, and so Carmen, with the topic of like anemia, as Jodilyn mentioned, and even backing it up with the community that we see and the moms that we have served so far, there's been a lot of people that have low energy, and when they come to the doctor, they diagnose them with anemia. Like they say, "What is this?" And like, "How is it affecting my body?" I mean, so like, what are some foods that we eat back home that can combat like getting like what Jodilyn said, bringing more energy to our moms?
Yeah, so the provider has already explained what it is, that it is low hemoglobin in the blood. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to bring up one food item and then maybe you can go from there and explain to us because this one is our favorite, one of our favorite, which is sashimi, raw fish, and it is a food that can also raise up the hemoglobin in the blood because it's iron. There's a lot of iron in it. But then, can you elaborate more on it? Because what we have learned is that because it's one of our favorite foods in back there in the Pacific, we eat it every day. Is that it has lead in it, and lead is not good for the growth and development of the brain of the developing fetus. So we all want to have a normal, strong and healthy, smart baby. We don't want anything to affect the brain at this time of the pregnancy. So maybe you can elaborate more on that first before we continue.
Sure. So, and you just brought up what is like this is the heart of it is that we have foods that make sense for us. And sometimes there's a conflict with the food that we love and the pregnancy. And navigating how we choose that is really hard. It's just really, really hard. And we work with families all the time where they're like, well, this is the thing I love, and I know I'm not supposed to eat it. So when we look at fish, different kinds of fish have different levels of mercury in them. And being able to learn about that is really important. Um, there's a blog that I love, and she wrote a really good article on this. Her name is Lily Nichols, and she actually is an author of now 3 books that I highly recommend, and we use them all the time. And these are the books that we use as the foundation for nutrition in pregnancy. The first one's called Real Food for Pregnancy, and then the next one is called Real Food for Gestational Diabetes, and then she just wrote a new one about fertility.
Mm.
But in that on her website, she has a free blog about fish and like figuring out how much mercury is in what kind of fish and what's safe and what's not safe. But we know that the food sources that are the richest in iron are going to be your meat products like red meat and dark green leafy vegetables, and then the kinds of then there's iron products available in all. I don't know, it's everywhere. It's just how much is available in which one. And maybe we could share a little bit later. We could share like a resource that shows you how much iron is in each kind of food, or you could just Google it or TikTok it. It's for sure out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be safe with your food choices and make sure that you're not overloading on some of the heavy metals that can be found in fish. So it's a very good point, but also just how do you fill your plate if the things that normally go on your plate can't be on your plate during pregnancy?
And yeah, and
Yeah.
Jody, you touched on a really good topic that our community is also impacted with is gestational diabetes. Like, could you talk a little bit more about it and maybe some symptoms that moms may experience when they go through pregnancy?
Yeah, and let's be sure we know with anemia that like your primary symptom is going to be feeling low energy. You feel like the bottom's been pulled out and like someone pulled the plug. And every time you go to stand up, you just want to sit down and lean back again. And you feel really, really, really low. And one of the things that we've seen is that when people go to the doctors, they're often told, hey, you have anemia, take this supplement, but they're never really like explained what it is. So I put together a handout, which we'll share at the end, is online, and people are welcome to go and look at it, where I tried to really explain what are we looking at in the blood and how do we build up the storage system of iron in our body so there's always enough iron in our red blood cells. With gestational diabetes, sometimes it can be silent, and that's one of the reasons why we test for it. Now, with all of these things, what helps is early prenatal care, because the earlier we can test, the longer we have to work on these things together. And you should be in partnership with your midwife or your doctor or your nutritionist or your auntie in the neighborhood who knows all about everything about food, because they can all, those are all team members and all support systems. And it helps so much to get your family on board, because if you're trying to work on gestational diabetes, which is really, it's when you have too much insulin in your bloodstream, you everything that you eat has sugar in it, everything converts to sugar, even some vegetables. So knowing that how to eat which foods, how to balance them. And for example, we'll say, well, if you would like some carbs, we want to balance it with protein and healthy fats, and that helps slow the carbs down. I have another good resource is on Instagram. There's a lady called the Glucose Goddess.
Okay.
And she shows how different food combinations spike your blood sugar or drop it. And what we want to do is keep it even, because when it's dropped really low, which is frankly something we see a lot in the PI community, is low blood sugar, and that's also not healthy. You feel also like you don't want to move and low energy, you feel a little dizzy, you might feel faint when that happens, and then you eat something and you feel better. The hallmark for this is hangry. Okay, do you know what that is when you're hangry? Does that ring a bell, Gabby?
I think so.
Okay, when you're hungry and it makes you angry, that's hangry. And most of the time when we ask people, hey, do you have hangry? Like, do people in your family are like, oh yeah, she's hungry again, she's on a tear. So that is hangry. And when you're not pregnant, you can be hangry and you eat and you feel better. When you are pregnant, you can be hangry and faint. It's really dramatic, and you can get hurt. You can be just walking down the street and faint. So you have to learn how to, same thing, fuel your body. How do you give your body the energy it needs to do what it needs to do every day? And how do you make sure you're eating foods in balance? And we look for protein. A lot of protein in pregnancy helps. Reducing carbohydrates, lots and lots of vegetables, fresh vegetables.
Mm.
And that helps keep everything in your blood glucose steady. Broccoli is number one. If people like broccoli, but you can stir fry it and eat some broccoli if that sounds good. And and then again with gestational diabetes, I think learning how to prevent it and not treat it. We do not want to find people at the place where they have a diagnosis of it. We want to do investigation early through lab work that shows us it's developing and
Mm.
how can we stop it and reverse and get back out of that story, because that is a lifelong story. That's not a story for just pregnancy. Once you get gestational diabetes during pregnancy, that tends to come back in your life, and it gives your baby some genetic coding that make the baby predisposed to diabetes.
Oh my gosh, I did not know that. I
Yeah.
remember like reading or seeing something on Facebook saying like you said, if you get gestational diabetes when you're pregnant, it's kind of like a mirror of what your future will be as you get older and even for your baby.
Yeah, we're writing our generational stories. And I think that one of the most powerful things that we've seen in the midwifery service in our care is when young people come in and they want to write a new story for their family, and they start to learn about how to nourish their bodies, to nourish themselves through resting well, through movement, through eating well, and then they teach their family members about it,
Mm.
and they would teach their babies about it, and there's a new story that's being written.
And
And I
then,
think mhm.
oh, sorry. I just want to bring Carmen in, like, with the stories that you have seen in your community and, like, maybe something on your personal experience. Like, what are some things that moms have done to make sure that, like Jodilyn had mentioned, make sure um, their levels are stable when they go to their doctors?
Yeah, right. So I think us martialist women, we consider ourselves one of the best cooks around. We are very good with our own traditional food. Yeah, but I'm sure it is the same for the other women from the other Pacific nation countries. And you can imagine we're here and we don't have those and eat things. So we go to the store and just grab whatever it is in there. We don't have the fresh meat, fish, or I mean whatever. We cook them soup, put them in soup, and all kind of dishes. So we grab the canned meat with our they're not good when you are pregnant. They're not good to eat those. And also, convenient, food like rice, bread, and ramen, and what else? Pasta, all
Mm.
these food in here. And what we really would like to support you, pregnant women that, this is the purpose of these kind of talk shows is to make sure that we can share all this information that there are, like Jodilyn say, all kinds of foods here in America, so abundance and they're right there. It's just a matter of really trying them, all kinds of vegetables, all kinds of food that you can cook to, uh, get a better taste if you don't like them and if uh, think that they're new to you and you don't like the taste and everything. But I think back home, the main thing was lack of edible plants. I think that is the main the vegetables because we don't have many at all. So back home, we tend to have more problems in terms of these kind of condition we're talking about, diabetes, anemia, preeclampsia, which is from high blood pressure, and whatnot. So here, all I want to say and contribute here is that you know we are never short of food, good food for health, and we just have to, you know, we just have to know that we can substitute and change, make some choices that are good for us rather than to just you know, grab whatever is there because we miss our food. I think that's one of the things because we miss our food and we just grab whatever we can eat. And but just to take a minute and say to yourself, is this healthy? No. Um, so glad to have this forum, I mean, platform for you, Cappy. From time to time you come on and try to support us and encourage us that we can change. It is not easy, but we can do it. And so there are so many options out there. It's
Mm,
just a matter of looking for them and really, Jodilyn said, the resource that comes from the doctor's office, a team. That's really one thing that we need to take advantage of. Usually there is a team of the your OBGYN and the nutritionist and social worker. If they think that we really need help on whatever we think that it is strange or new, or and then they will call in the social worker to help us. And so, going early to these clinics and really listen to the team and the plan. See if there's a plan they put out for us. It can really help you to think about having a successful journey with your pregnancy from beginning to the end rather than to wait and you may get lost, especially in terms of other things that may be going on, in your life and you don't really know about. But this theme is really, I don't know, I've gone to this clinic with some of my friends and relatives, and I'm really impressed with what they're doing, trying to really help us in so many ways that, you know, can really very impressive. So I'm just saying that, really try to take advantage of all these resources and information and experience that are out there for us and really help us in so many ways, especially to take care of this baby that is about to be born and we all, as I said, we all want uh, healthy, smart babies in the end. You don't want to do anything that might jeopardize the outcome. As you say, gestational diabetes or maybe full-blown diabetes, uh, sometimes we
Carmen,
don't care
Carmen, you
about.
said something I don't want to miss because
Mhm,
I think it's something that is not popular to say, but you said
mhm,
it, and it's really important to highlight it. There was probably two or three things. Number one is that this is hard work and you can do it. So what that sentence highlights to me is not to underestimate how hard it is to
mhm,
put the right foods in your home so that that the pantry has foods that support your body, because if there's other foods there you're going to just grab them because it's like the normal course of your day and it's hard to remember and it's hard to work on. Um, and so knowing this is very, very hard and being able to have a safe place to go and say, is so hard. I'm having such a hard time doing this and I'm doing it. And what that shows also to me is we have to highlight that there's a person who's pregnant, who's growing this baby, that each of us, when we are growing our babies and having our families, have the right to a very full and healthy life. And in order to achieve that, we have to do the work for that. We're surrounded by all these people that you just named, and it's up to us. It's very lonely. It's lonely work, but you're not alone. It's
mhm,
lonely work, but you're not alone. The work of it is each person's work to do for themselves, to say in their own mind, or to come. I'll always say it to people. Anyone can call me anytime. That you're worth it. You're worth the work of finding your way to your own best health. You deserve a happy, healthy, full life. And your children and your baby deserves to have access to you in your very best health. And the work that we do around that, that's what the heart of this is. You're building an entire long life for yourself in this moment. And pregnancy is often inspiring to do that. It inspires us because there's a baby there. And the baby, I really love what you said. We all want healthy, smart babies, and food is a pathway to healthy, smart babies. And I find that like sometimes people will go to their care at the doctor's and they come back thinking, that doctor doesn't think I care about myself. That doctor doesn't think I care about my baby. And they're treating me like I don't want my own best story and I don't want my own best outcome. But everybody wants to be a good mom. Everybody wants to be healthy. Everybody wants a healthy, smart baby. We all don't always have all of the tools to do all of those things on our own. And we have to learn. And
Mm.
learning is very, very hard work. You have to ask a lot of questions. You have to go home and think about it between your visits. And you have to wake up each morning and say, all of the minutes of today are going to pass before the end of this day. What do I want to do with my time? How will I spend those minutes? I have one bite on a spoon. What do I want on that spoon? Is that nourishing me? Is it nourishing my baby? Is it building us? Is it promoting us? Because downstream is where we see the outcomes that we know the Pacific Islander community is so susceptible to. And there's so many reasons for that, so many external reasons for that. The internal reasons we have control over. And that means that we get to arrive to our babies who are born to us in a way that is healthy. Our births are healthy. We recover from our births and we have healthy postpartum and we recover from our postpartum time and we are launched into parenting from a place of health and strength, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health and strength. And those four layers play together all the time. And you're bringing things in from home and in from your culture and in from all of the supports and all of the champions and all of the things we have, all the voices in our heads. Everything comes together. But everybody deserves a birth that is healthy. And I know people don't want a C-section. That's a big thing. And so avoiding these things, these big things, anemia, diabetes, preeclampsia, those all cause C-sections, all of them, because babies are born too early, they're born too small, they're born too big, they're born to somebody who has hypertension and uncontrolled blood pressures. So we want to get ahead of all of that. We need to stop chasing like when things are disease
Mm-hmm.
and get ahead. And the power to do that is inside each person. That's
And
where the power is.
you both have touched on such great and amazing topics, and I thank you so much for highlighting. Like you said, it all begins with the mom, and they have so much power within themselves, and it,
Right.
yeah, that is so
Right.
true. Like you said, it takes a village. It takes our aunties, it takes our sisters, our moms, even our professionals to lift us up and be like the best mom and best person that you can be. And I think something that I see is like, what are some questions that they can ask? Because maybe some people may feel shy or may feel intimidated when they talk to their doctor. I'm like, how can they start that conversation? And then that's a question for both of you.
Was that a question for me?
There's a question for both of you.
Oh,
Like good experiences. Yeah.
yeah. Well, again, in line of all this that we are experiencing here in especially when we are new and we are, you know, we are looking for help, and support from anywhere we can get. Just want to know, and totally, it is everywhere. It's just a matter of finding it. And so, one thing I really would like to encourage is also, and if you are listening, is to go and not wait. If tomorrow is you're pregnant and you haven't seen the doctor, just go. And one thing I've seen is how things can get chaotic when you are going into last stage of your pregnancy, and the doctor doesn't really know what to do because he needs all this information from you that uh, you need to see what is how can he help you, and if this is missing, and then it can be very confusing, for everybody to try and help you at this time. So don't.
Yeah. Mhm.
mm,
Mhm.
There's so much shame in that too, because they say things like, "Oh, well, if you only came in earlier, we would have this, or we would know this, or we would do that." And you kind of get smaller and smaller and smaller in that space, and it gets harder and harder to ask questions when someone's kind of like pointing out the things that you didn't do that they wish you did. And healthcare, I think in America, one of the hardest things about it is that, like, your family is whole like this, and healthcare says, like, okay, smush in to fit in the healthcare. And how do you do that when you're new? You may be new here, maybe it's a new language, maybe the it's hard to get a ride, it's hard, like, all of these things are so hard to put together. And what we want to find is healthcare that says, here's your family, here's who you are, and now healthcare is going to come and lift this. It's going to lift it, it's going to support it, it's going to educate it, it's going to inform, and it biggers you somehow. That's good healthcare. And that's what everybody deserves, and that's what they should be finding. And so I think one measure is when you go to the doctor or your midwife, if you're asking questions and you feel smaller, that's not a good fit for you. You need to go find another fit. And, this coming to the classes that the PI Health Board offers, and I know there's classes at our clinic, or just coming into the clinic and having us, we're not going to say you have to have your care here. We can help you find care that really fits you. But having a trusted source, and I think having Tara particularly seated there, it really helps to have people where you can ask your questions, and you don't feel dumb because of your questions. You feel smart because you're asking questions. And that, we have, oh, what a good question. You want, that's the response you want. What a good question. Let's learn about that together. And the questions you have are, you have to say your goals. My goal is healthy, strong pregnancy, healthy, strong, smart baby. I want to be better at the end of this pregnancy than I was before it, because I will have learned so much. I'm going to learn new skills and information. And then if the provider doesn't have a way of building you, that's a new provider. That's not a you problem. You need a different provider.
Yes.
Carmen, can I ask a question? So one of the things that we've seen is that some of the foods that families are used to eating from the islands, they'll come here, and our food might not be grown in the same soil. It might have more sugar in it. It might have more less nutrition in it because we don't have agriculture here. The way that we might have used to before we kind of ruined the earth. So,
Mhm.
thinking about like traditional foods, and how do we, like rice and breads, like those kind of things that in pregnancy become the leaders. They lead us right into gestational diabetes, and hypertension. What kinds of food are you recommending for families to like switch out, or how do they make a new base for meals, if the base is like rice or bread?
Yeah. Well, rice is our staple food. It is our staple food because for many reasons. And the thing is, there's just not enough food to supplement it back home. You know, with the lack of agriculture food, and garden fresh food to make choices from. And so there is a lot to experiment with our way of cooking, and with these foreign foods. I would say rice is a foreign food compared to our own food. We can just boil it and make really delicious meals out of them. But rice and bread, we just have to put sugar, things, other things to make it. We have so many dishes we can make out of this rice or bread. But the main thing is, or we always have to use this either sugar or salt or fat, things like that, in order to make them tolerable or more delicious to eat, compared to our own food. And so I think this is one of the problems, and the cooking issues, and ways to make healthy choices with these rice or flour. Other than that, um, it it is really the local food that we need, our own food,
Yeah.
fresh from the gardens, and those are the kind of food we long for and
Hmm.
we need. And so we end up with all these, uh, yeah, like convenience foods. And now we cook our rice, we just have to add or eat it with other things that are not really fresh, and that's another reason why uh, sometimes it's so really difficult to make changes to what you already are used to, and yeah, things like that. Hmm.
The convenience foods are addictive. They set off a cycle in our brain of addiction. So when you maybe are coming here, you can't find food from your home, and then you sort of default to like the drive-through. Those foods create a cycle of craving and addiction, and it just builds on itself. And so you need support to stop. Like it's really it's a physical thing. It's not like you're doing something that you can do. I don't know. It's not like a decision at some point. It's a physiology of addiction with those foods, those convenience foods. So that's a really hard thing to break out of, and really important process of pregnancy nourishment for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. The doctor always said to us, yeah, that is the thing about food. That is the thing about food. That is the danger about food. So we know that, yeah. We go to the hospital and we say, that is the thing about food. That's why you have that. And,
Mm-hmm.
it's so hard to, it has to do with habits, and,
There's also I don't want to neglect to say that the number one driver of poor health outcomes is loneliness. And I
mm,
have noticed with a lot of families when they're new here is they're very lonely. Like even
of course,
the sunshine isn't even with them. So everything from the brightness of the world they're looking out into, the time zone differences, if they're up all night talking to family and then sleeping all day, it's very hard to meet people when you're sleeping all day, and you get locked into a life that isn't really here. And being lonely has been shown to cause or lead to all of these things: hypertension, diabetes, um, and poor outcomes. So making sure to build community, and again, I think that's something the health board really helps with is, hey, let's get together, or let's do this class together, let's learn together. And that togetherness is health. That is health. Finding people, we there's a term for it now called social prescribing, where the prescription isn't medicine, the prescription is connection and relationship, and feeling heard and seen and felt by other people is very, very important to our health.
oh
So that might
yeah.
be
And
another one.
so some of these ladies come by themselves, leaving their families back there. So yeah, a combination of all kind of factors can really impact on the pregnancy, and, mhm,
Hmm.
for outcomes. Yeah. So in terms of food, it's so really hard, but we don't stop. We keep on, encouraging them and supporting them, telling them that there's so much to choose here from here, and yeah, they're all over the place. The food that you like, you can find them. No, some of the local food you can find them in the Asian stores. If you
Mm-hmm.
really cannot eat and you want to eat something really different and close to what we have back home, you can find them in the Asian store. So just go out and do it, I guess, and really, go for it. And also to stay with the plan and from the doctor and really work with them
Mm-hmm.
because it is the only way that you know you can get help, especially in the clinic uh, when the nutritionist is drawing up all these menus for you are really yeah, who else can help you beside the clinic, in terms of this is what you need to eat, for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner, in between. There's always a plan to follow,
Mm-hmm.
for that. Right? And this kind of thing, like, inspire me to really not stop, but to say that we cannot give up. We need to continue to learn and really go from there. The opportunity is there for you to make choices, make options for yourself and your baby. Other
Mm-hmm.
than that, and really go there for the care that they have for you. It's not only one time. There are appointments and maybe there are other specialists that they include in your care. If you have other things superimposing on your pregnancy, you go to the heart doctor or kidney doctors or whatnot. So many other things that you can take advantage of really when you are here. And because if you don't follow that, and then uh, that can that can cause you more than you want,
No.
especially baby.
It's a
Mm-hmm.
high price. Can
Yep.
we talk about preeclampsia for a second? I
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
want to forget it.
No, 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 yes.
Put it on my hot list. Okay, so preeclampsia is a hypertensive disorder of pregnancy. And
Mm-hmm.
what's interesting about preeclampsia is that you can get it in different ways. And there's one way that you can get it that you cannot do anything about. And that well, you can before you're pregnant, but that occurs during the implantation of the pregnancy into your uterine lining. Sometimes the way that the implantation or the placenta connect, do you want me to explain what these words are? The placenta
Yes.
is an organ that
Mm-hmm.
is the baby's organ. It's very cool. It's not there in your body any other time except for pregnancy. And each baby makes their own placenta, and that placenta is something that as the parent you give all the building blocks to, all of your nutrition, everything you drink, all of the water that you drink, everything you do to take care of yourself supports the building of a healthy placenta, and the placenta supports the building of a healthy baby. The placenta looks like at full term, it's about the size of a dinner plate, and it sits on the lining of the uterus. It's attached to the uterus. Yeah, it's about like that big. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually very cool because the placenta grows 1 millimeter thick each week of pregnancy. So in the end of pregnancy, which is 40 weeks long, it's about like that. It's like 4 centimeters thick and about the size of a dinner plate. And that placenta, everything we do to keep our health is going to the placenta. If the placenta is not attached really well to the uterus, then that can cause preeclampsia. And we cannot prevent that. It happens and we have to treat it. But there's another thing that can happen, which is where the nutrition isn't quite enough to support the placenta to be healthy. And that can cause preeclampsia. So even though you're saying I have high blood pressure is coming from my placenta, but that's what happens in pregnancy. You can get high blood pressure for all kinds of reasons when you're not pregnant. When you're pregnant, that's the most common reason you'll get it, is because your placenta, something is wrong with the placenta. So the way to support that is to support your blood volume. I'm throwing a lot of facts out,
No,
but
yes.
the
Could you
day,
touch on like what blood volume is?
yeah, so the day before you get pregnant, you have a certain amount of blood in your body. Pregnancy is 40 weeks long. By 30 weeks of pregnancy, you have 50% more blood in your body than you did the day before pregnancy. So you have to have so much blood in your body. And that goes for that blood serves you, it serves your pregnancy, it serves the uterus, and it also serves the baby. It's very cool because your blood is not the same as baby's blood, but the placenta gets the baby's blood clean for it and puts it into the baby's body through the umbilical cord. The baby uses what it needs, and then it sends the dirt back out to the placenta, which goes back into your bloodstream. You clean it for baby and send it back again.
Oh my
So
gosh.
all the time, there's this figure eight going where you are constantly taking care of your baby, which is why I know everybody can take care of their baby. Because if you're pregnant right now and you're watching this, you're growing your baby, you're feeding your baby, you're nourishing your placenta right now with nobody's permission.
Hmm.
That's how much power we have. We're doing it all on our own without anybody telling us, yeah, please do this, or you should do this now, or it's okay to do this. You don't need anybody's permission to do it or to do it well. And that preeclampsia needs some things. It needs what is in your blood is three things: water, salt, protein. The only way to get those things in your blood is through your mouth or through an IV.
Mm.
Nobody wants to come in for an IV every other day. So we have to figure out how to eat enough water, salt, and protein. So you need to drink a lot of water. And if the goal is about half your body weight in ounces. So if you weigh 150 pounds, to be drinking 75 ounces of water every day. And protein is to get like about up to 80 grams of protein per day. So that can be chicken, meat, fish, yogurt is a popular one. The Greek yogurt is very popular because you can put like some berries in there and make it taste good. And it's really high in protein, maybe 20 grams of protein in there. And you're just trying to get to 80 over the course of your day. And then salt is not the blue table salt. It's not the Morton salt. What you want is salt that is wealthy in minerals. And you can find that by looking to the ocean.
Mm.
The ocean is full of minerals and full of life-giving minerals. So the salt that's extracted from the ocean is called sea salt, and you can still find it in the grocery store, and they have it from all over the world. Their sea salt is made everywhere in the world. I think the most popular one people see is Himalayan pink sea salt.
Yeah,
And
ocean salt.
yeah, you turn the little knob and it grinds it. And putting some salt on your food so that it tastes good, not over salting, fills your body with minerals. But if you use the table salt, like in the blue box, or the shaker, or the little packets, that takes away from the health of your body. It's
Mm-hmm.
the minerals are out of there. So we want healthy salt, lots of water, lots of protein. That all helps prevent preeclampsia. And the final thing I'll say on that is that there's a recommendation that everybody move their body 20 minutes every single day during pregnancy. And moving your body, I know when we have like other little kids, we chase our kids and that feels like you're moving your body, but it actually has to be heart pumping exercise that makes you sweat a little. That doesn't mean you have to go to the gym or pay a big membership. You could take a walk and get that in. And you can also do a dance party. And what we know about dance parties is that they also improve our mental health
Mm-hmm.
because the movement helps adjust our brain to lift our spirits. So putting on your favorite music, and you can use your music from home so that you're feeling connected and you're having time, spending time with your baby, connecting over the music from your home and of the music of your life, and or pop music, whatever is fun for you, and move your body and dance for 20 minutes. And you can do 3 minutes. We call them dance interventions. So one song is about 3 minutes. you can do that several times a day. You could do like 2 songs 4 times a day, and you're getting your heart healthy and pounding so it can move all that blood around and do what it's supposed to do for you and baby.
And I know we have some good music because I know we have a coworker. Shout out to Linda. Sometimes she plays some really good music, and it really gets our blood pumping and gets our body moving. So thank you so much, Jodilyn and Carmen, for sharing. We only have 10 more minutes of our live, and so I just wanted to turn to our comment section because while we were talking, we had some really good and positive and even questions from our community. And so I want to highlight this question from Melinda Alik, and she said, "Do you mind if you can explain what lead and hemoglobin is?"
Yes. So the metals that Carmen was talking about are metals that are found in fish in the ocean, because they're the contamination. So it's contaminated fish, really. And you think about everything that's going on in our oceans today, and that will all make sense. With anemia, I know that they're going to share a handout, but hemoglobin, what you think about is that it carries oxygen around your body. That's really the job of our red blood cells, is to move oxygen and iron through our whole body and also through our babies' bodies. We need that iron and we need good hemoglobin in order to develop baby's brain, but also to develop their bodies and to keep our pregnant body healthy. When we share the handouts, I will really encourage you to, they're going to share a link. And I had made a handout because we kept finding people were not getting explained all of this about anemia and iron deficiency. And it explains what every element in the blood is and why we need it and what it does. So that might be the easiest way to go look, but I know we're short on time. So maybe
Yeah.
that's helpful to refer.
So, yeah. So again, I just want to share with these pregnant ladies about my experience with anemia and preeclampsia. Anemia, you tend to bleed a lot, in delivery because uh, it's ironic because you don't have enough, and yet you get rid of the blood you have in your body. So it is very dangerous during delivery. You know, if you go late, and usually the doctor will, it doesn't have anything um, else that can help you beside food to have really, you know, eat good food when you were pregnant during the rest of the pregnancy because you are late. But you might ask you to a consent for a transfusion or something like that because it is very late and you don't want to go late. That one thing about anemia, you into bleed, hemorrhage during delivery, and you don't want that. Uh, Preeclampsia, I know of some ladies who just going to labor very early, like maybe 36, 37 weeks. So, they deliver premature babies. That's one cause of premature babies. So you really don't want those, to happen to your baby. So this is one important reason why you need to go see a doctor as soon as you can and not wait until it is late to the doctor. And that's it. The best thing to correct thing besides the medicine that the doctor will give you are food. Food, good healthy foods, and from the beginning when you know that you need them and not to wait until it's too late to look for the foods. So
Hmm.
they're all over the place here, and uh, just go as early as you can so you know what is wrong and uh, how to help the doctor to help you. The both
Yeah.
of you and nutritionists are going to. That's it. They always have a plan for you to follow from the beginning. And if you have any question, we're here to support you. Just call Happy anytime you need our help.
Yes.
This is really the goal of this talk story, trying to, to really support you in any way we can, with food, with food. What
Yes.
can I tell? They tell me I have anemia, they tell me I have preeclampsia
Mm.
because of my blood pressure, whatnot, occasional diabetes, and mm,
Mm. And we also have another somebody who would like to share as well. It's from Christine. Thank you, Christine. And she wanted to highlight something saying that it's not easy being a new parent and going to meet new people and interact when you have just lost so much of your bodily fluids. Those fluids are not replaced as fast as it was they are released, and if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Then it does make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you feel there's a normal time where you want to retreat a little bit as a new parent. You want to kind of go in to a quiet place and just take care of yourself and your baby. And it's very hard to meet people when you're in that space. And if you're not getting your energy back, you could be anemic from your birth. And when you talk about like losing things not so easy to get back after, sometimes that sounds to me like anemia. That you may have bled a little bit at your birth or bled a little too much at your birth. And we can check that really easily. I don't know if you're in our area of South Seattle or Renton or could get there, but please call because we can check those levels. Everything we talked about tonight, we can diagnose and treat based on lab work. So you don't have to, if you're just not feeling right, that's enough of a reason to come in. You don't have to be able to say, these are my symptoms and this is all the things you just come in, just make an appointment, come on in, and we'll just help you think through how you're feeling and work it out together and be able to do some labs and then quickly get your treatment. And what Carmen was talking about with infusion is iron infusions, and they're very commonly needed. And if you need them and you don't have it, you feel horrible. And it's horrible to get up and move anywhere. So if you're feeling like it's hard to move and it's hard to get out, just please come in and we'll just talk with you. We don't have to do anything, but even just talking, and then we can offer you some solutions.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank
Mhm.
you both for sharing that. And thank you, Christine, for bringing this concern up. And then I'm going to highlight one last question, and again from Melinda. What are some healthy salt names that you both have talked about?
Yeah, like Himalayan sea salt.
Okay.
Just look for sea salt and look for the kind that you grind. So you'll see like crystals of salt. It's all in the grocery store in the salt section. Still, in any kind of grocery store you go into where there's salt and pepper, they'll have sea salt. And any of them from anywhere in the world, and they have like different flavors. So if you want to be adventurous, you could try from different parts of the world
Mhm.
and see how different salts taste.
Yeah. Thank you all for sharing, and hopefully after this conversation we'll read back some of these great comments that you all have posted. But I want to give time for our speakers to promote anything that they have going on or any resources that they love to share. And I'll go ahead and start with Carmen.
well, just to repeat that if you haven't gone to the hospital, please go. We all want to help you and make sure that you have all the care you can get from the OBGYN and his or her team at the hospital. There are so many people who want to help you. You're not alone. Mm, Then try to explore what is healthy in the store rather than to just grab the canned meat or take more rice or the bread and just go and look around and see what is available there because so much healthy food is um, in the store or in the market or um, almost everywhere, right? Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and see what you like, mm, bring home and just try it, and always think about the baby and know that for diabetes, that the danger is a big, huge baby that might make you have a hard time to um, go through the pregnancy toward the end, and might end up having a cut in your belly to take the baby out if it's really too big. And for anemia, because of lack of good food that have iron in them. Before that's another thing I wanted to talk about. One of my favorite stages in this whole journey of pregnancy is that stage before pregnancy. Really, before you uh, get pregnant, maybe 3 4 months before that, you're planning, right? You
Mhm.
said, okay, maybe in a couple of months I'm going to get pregnant. That is really very important. This is the time when you can really uh, sit, you know, take a little time to see what is really going on with you, and maybe make a visit to the doctor's office to ask questions and say, okay, I want a report card on my health right now. No, like he'll be very happy to see you before you deliver your baby. The first thing he's gonna do is to do the screening test, and his exam with his examination, and we'll give you a report card on it. And that's when you will know that okay, I'm okay. I can get pregnant. We tend to ignore this stage in that area of specific area. Just uh, don't really take time to think about it. Uh, and so I think it's really important. It's really part of all these, talk of how we can get ourselves from here to there.
Mhm.
Just take time to really think about this period, and take advantage of everything that is, available to you here in the States. Maybe, maybe this is where you get pregnant. Most of the problem we have seems to come from home, when it's too late. But you are here, and it, it is to your advantage that you to take some time to really think and plan it, and make sure you know what the doctor is, thinking about you, and making uh, some plans to get even
Yeah, thank you, Carmen.
already ready for this time, And
Mhm.
then when you get pregnant, actually you go back and you said, okay, I'm pregnant now. What is next?
Mhm.
Just to be in that mindset from now.
Mhm.
We really to start, thinking about these things. We has women from diabetes to get the best of everything for ourselves. And
Thank
before this is
you.
really the best time to start doing that. Not wait and find out that you are pregnant. This month it is kind of, yeah, not uh, yeah, it's just not it's just not healthy. You want to be the best of health before you uh,
Mhm.
go on
Yeah,
that. Mm-hmm.
thank you, Carmen. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Jody Lynn.
Yeah, that was so wise. Prevention. So I feel like the story of this talk story is prevention.
Yes.
Um, so
Right.
for us, the resources we have, I just want to share. We have all these handouts we've made for our clients, but we share them with everybody. So you can look on our website, and there's a menu item that just says midwifery clients and current clients. And just go through there. There's everything you need: how to sign up for Medicaid, how to look at what is genetic testing, understanding all the questions about anemia. Just there's, it's only a two-page handout and just says exactly what all those little parts and pieces are that we're looking at, and a bunch of other information. And then the handouts, there's a link to just a PDF with like 50 or 60 handouts in there about all these different pregnancy topics, what medications are safe to take, and what to do about heartburn, nausea, vomiting, all that kind of things that happen in pregnancy. There's a lot of topics there. So, and we're always adding more. So check back often, and that's how you can get a hold of us and make an appointment with Tara, make an appointment with myself or one of the other midwives there, our nurse midwife, Alicia, and come and meet our team and hang out and keep coming to the classes and story time for Pacific Islander Health Board and keep learning and growing. You can do it.
Yes. Thank you both for being on for today. And then, like Jodilyn and Carmen said, we are your village. Like, don't let this talk story just be the last thing. Please reach out to us. We're here to help you. And like, we at the Pacific Islander Health Board have a lot of resources to give all of you today. So we have health insurance, and with our program, we have childbirth education. Connection to birth workers like Dr. Tara and midwife Jodilyn, and doulas, and anything that you need during your pregnancy, you just give us a call or Facebook message us, and we'll be happy to help you. And before I forget, our phone number is 253-235-5112. So I just want to say thank you all again for coming on tonight, and Jodilyn, Carmen for being our guests, and we hope to see you again soon. So
Thank you for
Thank you
having us.
so
thank
much,
you,
Gabby.
everyone. Have a good night.